And we're live. Conference Championship Weekend Pod. Money Line Monaco. Let's go, baby. Friday, January 24th. 2 sleeps away. And I cannot wait for what we're talking round all-time bout between Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes and the new kid on the block, Mr. Jaden Daniels. Can he do rarefied air, what's never been done in the history of the sport? Just the sixth man to try to climb Everest in the NFC. On the road at the Link. You got to love it. Philly hosting at the moment. 6.5-point Philadelphia line. At the moment, 1.5 at -115 in favor of the Kansas City Chiefs. Absolutely riveting. We have live line movement in the Buffalo Bills and Kansas City Chiefs dance, and updated tickets and spreads per John Ewing of BetMGM. And again, if you do follow me, I host a show on MSG Networks, The Better Half Hour, Season 4. Give it a watch wherever you get your local listings. Fubo, among others, DirecTV, among others. A lot of spots to check out this show, but I am able to give you great insight that BetMGM, our sponsor, provides us as far as tickets and splits and where the money is and where the tickets are. And I'm actually watching in real time as I'm hosting the show, coming off it today. A real public underdog, at least at the moment, in Buffalo. And it's really hard to comprehend when we get into the numbers. And I got to start with the heavyweight dance. I'm going to Sunday, 6:30. How do you like it? Jim Nance, Tony Romo. Let's dive in. Over under 48.5. Ironically, on BetMGM, both over-unders were 47.5. Just to clear the totals on an overall thought, theme for this playoffs, wild card round, 5 Scuba Steve unders, 1 over. Divisional round, 3 overs, 1 under. Here we are. This is Vegas, bobbing and weaving, and you're just trying to put on the bumper lanes and do it as well with the timing. So we have a 47.5 total in the NFC and a 48.5 total in the AFC. Now, let's just talk narrative here, because I joked a couple years back that we had a interesting on the ride to Vegas caravan that Patrick Mahomes was driving. And I was back and forth on, is Josh Allen going to be in the shotgun with him, i.e. he's the second best in the AFC, or is it Joey Burrow? And you look back a couple of years, and it's like Burrow's gotten to the Super Bowl, caught an L to Matty Staff, of course, but beat Mahomes in the most pivotal spot, even trailing at halftime, mind you. And Josh Allen is not. And you look at the splits and you look at the history, and it's almost an old school setup from a Kansas City standpoint. Let's just drop the regular season game, i.e. Buffalo's the only team to beat this Kansas City team 4 times. You want to get old school LaFleur with it from dodgeball. The only man that makes Mahomes bleed his own blood is Josh Allen. But that's a regular season statement. He is winless against Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. And here we are again with a setup punch, old school. Regular season winner coming out the other end. How do they fare? Historically, going back 2 decades, 44-25 straight up. I'm not saying against the spread here because we got a 1.5 point line. It's really a coin flip game. Just spend the extra 10 cents, take the team on the money line, however you spin it. But point being is 44-25 straight up if you win the first round the regular season and you play again in the playoffs. Divisionally speaking, just to hop around for a second, you got a divisional rematch. That's only happened 4 times in 2 decades in this championship spot. Last time it was Niners-Rams, and the only time a cover happened was the Niners in that spot over the Rams. So here we are, and here are the numbers. Because when I lay them out to you, it is, again, your choice as a bettor. Are you going to fade Patrick Mahomes, playoff Mahomes, 16-3 Mahomes? And I've spoken this out on multiple places that I host shows. The extra rest the Chiefs have gotten, I cannot understate enough. I mean, these guys are doing State Farm commercials, LeBron James podcasts. They got so much time on their hand because Goodell gives them a nice but not nice 3 games in 10 days. They wrap up the 1 seed, and they, by Christmas evening, are opening presents with weeks off on their Casper mattresses. Weeks! You hadn't even seen them. You forgot. I hammered, if you listen to me, Travis Kelce props last week because the guy was rested. Playoff Trav, extra nights off. We're joking about dangle it over here, refs and Chiefs against the world. Caitlin Clark, MySpace top 8 friends with Taylor Swift, yada, yada, yada. The reality is the Chiefs have put themselves in an unbelievable position. And if you're talking out the numbers here, quite frankly, this is not a good spot to be if you are backing this Buffalo Bills team. So let's talk a couple elements here. Let's talk Chiefs in this spot against Buffalo, and what does it mean under Josh Allen when they score 21 plus points? They're 6-3 straight up in the playoffs since 2020 Buffalo, since 21 plus points or more have been had. And take a stump the Schwab, shout out the late one, guess at the 3 L's. Kansas City, 27-24, last year's divisional, 42-36, 22 divisional, overtime Arrowhead. You remember it. You remember where you were. And 38-24 Chiefs at Arrowhead. 2021 ship, catch another one, Josh Allen. Here's a real trend you really got to sit on here. And if you follow the program, you already know I'm very good at bobbing and weaving, fading and backing the Chiefs. I am. And it's prevalent in, shout out to Action Network, the great research they do. Mahomes minus 3.5. You back the other team. Mahomes a field goal or less, you back Mahomes. In the playoffs, there's been 7 instances where he's been listed as a dog or a favorite of less than a field goal. He's covered 7 times. He's won 7 times. You want to take that same stat? Again, Patty Mahomes as a dog. He's +1, he's +2, he's +3. Or a field goal or less. 27-9-1 against the spread. And in home games in November or later, 40 degrees or less, Arrowhead, 23-2, straight up on your noggin. 23-2, and you want to back Josh Allen because you're emotional at the book? If you're not emotional at the book, I'm not talking this is science. He lost to Phillip Rivers in 2018 and Brady as a Patriot. That's the only time the guy has lost on his turf. November on, the guy's been in the league the latter half of a decade. You're tripping if you like the Bills. Josh Allen told you because he's trying to psych his guys up because it's Superman versus a whole pack of dogs. He's telling you on the mic, we don't have the talent. We're too small. We don't have the depth. Yeah, dude, you don't. You don't. Have you played Madden with the Bills? 83's all over. Von Miller is in his 30s. I don't want to hear it. I'm telling you, I'm slamming the Chiefs, and we're paying half a month of Manhattan rent. Let's talk out another element of this game. The Chiefs have a day extra rest to the point I've said where they got one of these just cake walks. Old school, when we used to watch commercial football, Brady Belichick scenarios where you got them at home. They win the AFC 1 seed. They get the bye. They get a cushy divisional dance like a Texans, California Stroud indoor team outdoors. You just saw them. They win that game at 99 times out of 100, pack them up to go, and they get an extra night of rest while Buffalo's got to deal with a daunting Baltimore for a true 60 minutes. So the Chiefs this year with a rest advantage, 5-1 on your dome. Straight up 5-1, dude. 5-1. Andy Reid off a bye in his career's got 6 wins to 1 loss. Here's another thing to think about. The last time the Chiefs lost in the ship, they had the rest disadvantage. This is how you bet in the NFL. It's like betting in the NBA. You got to look at human beings, travel, situational spots. Are you playing for more than 60 minutes? That game, Mahomes beats Allen, goes to overtime, catches an L to Burrow. I mean, again, that's short week, different scenario, rest disadvantage off extra football. This is Chiefs wrapping up the Texans, running the ball in the end zone to cover or not cover, and that's the story. That's how much they wrap these boys up. So what I'm saying is Kansas City in 2 of their last 3 against Buffalo did not have the rest advantage. This is only the second time they've had it against Buffalo in the playoffs, and they're still undefeated against them. So it's just a lot and a tall order for anyone in any schedule to beat Baltimore and then Kansas City back-to-back weeks. It's a gauntlet. And I scream this from the Raptors, and here we are, like I'm going to waver. Sean McDermott, lack of attention to detail. Andy Reid would never. Belichick wouldn't dream of it. Burns a timeout at SoFi against the Rams. He cooks his quarterback. That means they have to get an onside kick instead of 3 and out. Old school Madden, 3 timeouts. They go from 3 timeouts to 2. They lose the game after they had just beaten the Chiefs and had a chance to swoop the 1 seed. This is the tiny attention to detail of what we're looking at this weekend. A non-McDermott, Larry David curb moment at SoFi. Burns a timeout on a QB sneak like an idiot. An idiot. I can't even fathom it. Go back and look at it. I was so effing pissed. And it wasn't even a betting actionable scenario for him. I was like, oh my God, dude. Buffalo jinxed themselves. They cooked themselves. They lose the game to the Rams. Back down the chutes and ladder. Now you're going to Arrowhead instead of them coming to you. You're not going to Arrowhead and beating Patrick Mahomes. Chiefs, money line. You can get it right now, minus 122. Sure, minus 1.5. You want it against the spread pick. Duh. All right, let's talk. The kid on the cul-de-sac that is operating like an absolute gentleman, like a person in the pocket and out of the pocket we've never seen before. Jane Daniels, ladies and gentlemen, take a bow, the 6th rookie quarterback to start a conference championship. And no one in their past has won in this spot. Matter of fact, against the spread with it, 1-4 rookie quarterbacks championship game. The only man to cover pre-iPhone. AIM, call your girl if you got a crush on her on a landline. Year 2000, Sean King, 14-point spread, 1-4 against the spread. Jaden Daniels is not any of these quarterbacks. Jaden Daniels is in his own class. He's at his own table in the cafeteria. And I'm telling you, if Jalen Hurts ain't right, the whole city of Philly, like Rocky, is going to be on Saquads to take his body through the snow, in which the Commanders DC says they're coming at everyone's jugular in a divisional dance and beat 11 men. Because Jalen Hurts is, again, he gets a lot of criticism. He's an excellent leader. It's almost a thankless job to be a longtime Philly quarterback. It's super difficult to play that role and play it prolifically. Jalen Hurts has done it the best in my lifetime. I mean, he's up there with McNabb, and McNabb, again, is a whole nother generation ago. Jalen Hurts doesn't get the credit. But the reality is there's a very good chance this man was perked up, hopped up, an introvert, smiling, giggling, laughing. You think this matters? It doesn't matter. You're joking. Clearly took something. He got yanked both ways with both knees. in the snow. No ish. He took something. So where is Jalen Hurts, who does squat in the gym with Saquon, and where is his lower body health? Because if, again, he doesn't have mobility and they smell blood in the water, Washington's front seven, which is nothing to snuff at, we're going to watch Jalen Hurts go down 4, 5, 6 times in the pocket. Here's something to think about abstractly. Have we ever seen a less pressured team coming in with house money than this Commanders team? They're soaring like they're traveling on vacation with no carry-on and no checked bag. I mean, they are floating. They have no business being here. They're the 9th team ever to make it as 150 to 1 preseason to win the Super Bowl. And the 4th team ever to get to this spot that high in the preseason odds. It's insane. Only the 99 Rams, from an against the spread standpoint, have done anything like it. Books are going to get annihilated if this Commanders team raises the trophy. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Philly is built for a Super Bowl. Again, Jalen Hurts criticism over here, if you know ball, trenches is unbelievable. It's a Saquon dream led by Lane Johnson, the savvy vet. They are decked out across the board. They are so well coached from a scheme standpoint with Moore and from a Fangio standpoint defensively. I mean, again, this team hit home runs. Quinyon Mitchell, Coop. Everywhere you turn, this team is built inside out. Credit to Howie. It's a very solid infrastructure, and it's at their place. And psychologically, like the rookie is going to buck history and come into Philly and win this game, I don't think so. I haven't got there on a Friday yet to punch the money line ticket on the Commanders. I have already inked plus 6.5 at a nice, gorgeous minus 106. I'm comfortable with 6.5. This team's been a dog 8 times and won outright 5 times. They're 12-6-1 against the spread. The Commanders are a covering machine. You already know the historic viral tweet. Jaden Daniels has more no interception, no punt games than Montana, Mahomes, Brady, Manning combined. They're unbelievable on 4th down. They're 5-2 in their last 7, averaging 31, coming in on a 7-game win streak historically. Teams coming in 4-11 against the spread in this spot since 2004 championship weekend. Teams on a 7-game win streak coming in hot, covering only 4 times in the last 15. If you want the numbers. But Philly ain't that great of a cover when you're laying this number. You look at it on the season. Not to mention another extra night of sleep for the kid and the Commanders, who do have a Bobby Wags, who do have a Marshawn Lattimore, who do have a Zach Ertz, certainly can thank the scheduling for another extra night of sleep. But psychologically, in the hierarchy of the division on campus in the NFC East, Jalen Hurts is telling Jay Daniels, go get me some tots, Napoleon Dynamite status with a blue Gatorade, and report back and maybe get me a Mrs. Fields cookie while you're at it. Because ain't no way Washington's coming on campus, new kid, and just swooping Philly's jockstrap. It's not how it goes. Not to mention it's a rookie in a spot where history says don't do this. Now, quick pivot, because I have the information. Shout out my guy Pete. Referees in this spot, who are they and who's reffing? Sean Hockley, 5-0, reffing the NFC Championship, by the way. Sean Hockley, mini biceps junior, 5-0 straight up Sirianni Hurts era. 1-3 straight up, 0-4 against the spread in Hockley's career for Washington. He's also got the second most unders as a ref since 2018, 63, 45, and 3. Second most unders. Let's go to AFC. Cleet Blakeman. Overs in either Mahomes or Allen spots, 13-6 to the over. Cleet Blakeman reffing Mahomes games. Only 6-5. The Chiefs are straight up. And how about this stat? 11 straight up wins in 2024, tied for the most by any ref of road teams dancing with the ref and the Chiefs Bills. 11 straight up wins in 2024 for road teams under Cleet, born to ref Blakeman. So I'm going to take a Washington team playing above the rim with the points and feel very good about it. Let's talk a couple props before I get out of here. Threw out a bunch on the better half hour. Might as well give them out. Saquon 2 touchdowns has to be in the conversation. He's done this 6 times, including last week. He did it against Washington. It's a bottom 10 Washington D. It's freezing temperatures. It's feed the big man. I mean, again, be the guy to do it and just bet Saquon to score. I just do not see in a Saquon parlay it was something because you don't want to lay the juice how this man doesn't score. It might be the bet of the weekend at the prop shop. And Josh Allen, 50-plus yards. You can get that at normal juice on BetMGM right now. He's done this out of 4 of the 5 opponents in the playoffs he's gone against. You got to remember he ran for 72 last year in the playoffs against this team. Guys ran for over 500 yards on the season, and he did it 55 in the dub against the Chiefs. He's putting his body on the line, just ink the ticket, 50-plus rush yards, and just thank me later. Obviously, I'm on the Chiefs here, so I'm on Travis Kelce. Playoff Trav, feeling 22. Chasing Jerry Rice in receiving yards and touchdowns. Call it by design in the Hollywood script. Call it not. Plus 7 receptions has to be in the conversation. Did it last week, leading all Kansas City wide receivers. It's a security blanket for Patrick in a year where they're playing Big East basketball over there with no true one wide receiver with Rice going down early. So this guy, again, last year's playoff, 7 receptions in 3 out of the last 4 games. Got to consider him for a normal late juice, 7 receptions. And just for food for thought, Vegas had it at 5.5 last week, so they're already up in a reception. I think buying low on A.J. Brown, read more lines on the sideline than receptions, got to be in the conversation. This guy had 8 receptions 2 times against Washington. 8 receptions. I think in this spot, not as cold, not as snowy. At least that's what the forecast is saying. A.J. Brown, again, big physical receiver. Want to back him in a cold scenario. You'd very much have in Devontae Smith, a guy that just in the cold doesn't scream you want to throw to Devontae Smith. Way more than A.J. Brown. Hit him on curls. Hit him on slants. Do I dare say a wide receiver screen? Toss it up to him inside the 10 for a little jump ball. So many ways in these conditions to get A.J. Brown. 5 receptions, and it's plus money. Mahomes is over 25.5 rushing yards at minus 110. It's minus freaking 150 if you want it at 25 plus. Just a sick Captain Hook in this one. But he averages in the playoffs 27 yards on the ground. Every playoff game you look at in his career, he makes an emphasis to move the football with his feet. He's a subtle lad when it comes to it. All it takes is Von Miller beating a man on the outside a couple of times. Patrick's off and running, tiptoeing in his Jordans. Give me Patty Mahomes for 26 yards for a cash ticket. And one little 18-1 parlay. I'll on our way out of here with 4 guys that have scored last week. Kelce, you know what he's chasing. Scary Terry, touchdown in 3 straight games. Jalen Hurts, a rushing touchdown in 4 of the last 6 games, and Josh Allen off a 2-tutty game with the Superman cape on, 18-1. So in conclusion, Chiefs on the money line, minus 130 at the moment for me. You can get it at minus 122 if it does dip back down. I'll swallow the 1.5. We'll double Costanza dip. Give me the Commanders plus 6.5. Would not be shocked if it's Chiefs Commanders. I'll give you my final answer. It's a rematch. And honestly, it's a riveting one. I know it doesn't sound great on paper. Don't be emotional. Chiefs home favorites, Eagles home favorites, rematch in the Super Bowl. Saquon as the Giants' nightmare continues. Bucks a bunch of Commanders for 2 touchdowns for plus 260. Thanks for joining me. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, review. Goes a long way. And of course, do not forget to hug your mothers. We are signing out. We'll see you next show.